Hello, welcome everyone. I don't know. Welcome to the first, I don't know, TC2 podcast, I guess. An actual conversation, hopefully. Uh, Today we have our guest, Echo, and then GeForce. I don't know where Miku's at. Miku's gone. He's supposed to show up. I think he's playing a better game. But, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore.
I mean, you do have the lease, so you could just
Yeah,
start.
got to pull that
just
up.
start.
All right, opening thoughts. What are you guys' thoughts on the chase
Non-content,
in
not
general?
major at all, not deserving an actual, major update in the name of it. Something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, overall, I'm pretty disappointed with what we got in the chase. Just doesn't feel like anything is finished. It feels like they just rushed something for the sake of just having something to show, I guess. It just feels very quickly put together, not thought through, just, yeah, rushed.
Yeah, and then they even stretched it with some not coming out instantly, with Mother Pass being time-gated. You don't even have all the content at the start, so you have like an hour in the first day of gameplay, maybe less, and that's it. Yeah, that's as much as the update actually gave to us on the release day. So yeah, really disappointed.
Yeah, I also feel the same. But I don't know. Mainly just the events, just a lackluster for me. I wasn't too much into them.
I think the routes that are set out by the events are kind of interesting. There are some routes we haven't seen before in some areas we have seen before. I think that the layout of them is fine. I just think it's kind of a waste that you're done with these events in like 40 seconds.
Yeah,
Just don't
that.
see much of the route.
I mean, they're supposed to be obstacles, and I feel like the events themselves, they don't really play nicely. No, not play nicely. If they don't feel good if you don't have music on and the voice is telling you what's happening. I think that's supposed to be the whole experience. I mean, because I during the preview I played it without music and with
Like,
music and voices and everything on, and it felt pretty cool up until I turned on my default settings and turned everything off and only had the car audio. I'm like, oh
Yeah,
okay,
I've
yeah,
watched some.
now this is actually kind of garbo.
Yeah, I've watched some gameplay with people who had the music on, and it kind of makes the lackluster thing it already is a little bit better. It feels somewhat immersive with the dramatic music, but then once you remove that aspect, it just you really notice that there's not much left.
yeah, the problem is the gameplay itself and the limitations to this game mode. There are some interesting ones, like I tried to cut a corner on the Miami when I was, a little far from AI and it wasn't spawning me on the back of them. Like there is one corner in the shape of U on the map, and you can just cut it with the shorter route, but no, it just resets you back to the route if you go to the shorter route.
So they're saying it's a little bit too much on rails.
No, that's actually good. Like, why not use it for actual races? For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
like even if I tried to go as fast as I couldn't cross that thing. So that was a really nice restriction. Why not have it on the usual street races? Instead, they have to put like barriers and stuff when you don't need them.
I think it's just because they put invisible checkpoints on this one. I can't see them actually making a route where you don't have to use checkpoints.
Why not actually? Why
That's
shouldn't they
actually
make a
refreshing.
race like
Yeah.
that?
Have a route
I
that
mean,
works by itself without massive pillars.
I mean, they could probably like, I don't know, just make all their new street races using this, but I guess not.
It would be way better. Like, just remember that press forward track with the DeLoreans right
Mhm.
before
Oh,
this
yeah.
update, the last one. Just
Yeah.
all the checkpoints there are on the apex and high speed sections. Just remove them. Just use that system instead. Easy.
Use like their what's it called? I don't know what kind of system that would be. To me, it looks like it's the demo derby type system where like there's like a box around the track you're supposed to go through.
Rift as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, drift too. Like, that would be interesting. It looks easier on the map
You
instead of
mean
having
you
a
mean
checkpoint.
the restricted bounds?
Yeah, the restricted bounds.
Hmm.
I mean, if they
Yeah,
did that
that's way
for
way better than the checkpoint system that we have, in my opinion. If you calibrate the boxes, without any disasters, it should work just fine if the players, follow the route.
One benefit to checkpoints is, I guess, the time delta they show once you cross them.
oh yeah,
You can still show the time delta for invisible checkpoints, like they
Yeah, but
do on touring car, for example.
those are not invisible checkpoints. They're actually physical checkpoints. They just are not inside the track. They're over the track.
Well, those new events are probably the same. They are probably somewhere.
But in that same area, you can just have non-physical checkpoints, just like TC1, just like a visual thing that does show, but that's not a physical pillar to hit.
I don't know. For me, it just feels better to have the clean track, basically.
I
Just
mean, you can
have
make those checkpoints fairly minimalistic, I suppose. It doesn't need to be a massive bright blue icon in the middle of your screen like, hey, go here, because that's just not necessary.
Yeah, in that sense, we're always coming back to Forts actually doing it better. It does some presentation, but it's not impacting your car at all.
Hmm.
Yeah, both the flares
Yeah.
and the flags in Forza, I feel, are just a superior system. Though the flares are maybe visually a little bit uneasy on the eyes.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the situation.
all right. Let's move on to what about the CC? The CC like this contract's being
Actually, there
yeeted from
was
the
one
game.
more thing about those
Oh,
events.
go on.
Like, that was a positive restriction, on the cuts, just removal of them. Like, they can actually do that. They proved it on some corners, at least. I didn't test all of them. But, the restrictions on the takedown themselves, that's a big mistake, in my opinion, with those events. We have the timer. So why not just do it, as many takedowns as you want within the timer, and the person with most takedowns wins.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Rather than like finishing like complete time, you want.
It's something similar to like Burnout Road Rage game mode
Yeah,
where they are like given a specific of time, but then you can take down as many as you want.
that's way better.
That's
Mm.
exactly it. Yeah, it's just a burnout takedown mode.
Also, if you can't work on the number of takedowns, give points for takedowns, just like with Demolition Derby. The system is in place already. Just use it.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like though that could be a small double-edged sword with doing it the points way. But that's just me.
I just feel like we don't even get to see the routes enough. I didn't see most of it just because I took down everything solo, even on Ace, way too quickly.
I mean, the only way to see the entire route is if you just ignore, if you just ignore the
Yeah,
AI
exactly. Why would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to
Mm.
throw to see the route?
playing it counterintuitively. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, the events are kind of meh, garbage.
Like, I feel that restriction on the takedowns is the most crucial mistake. Like, whatever, make them easy. Yeah, but if you make it about the number of takedowns you can do within the time limit instead of limited takedowns, that would be way better. That would actually challenge you to go as fast as you can, take down as much as you can. The easy takedowns would make much more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. because I don't really feel immersed in actually wanting to, take these people down. It doesn't really feel like it's a challenge to take them down. You just hit them once or maybe twice, and then they're dead. It doesn't really feel like you're taking someone down.
Would your opinion change though if they gave it more health as you went up the difficulty?
I feel like it should be like maybe 3 enemies that have a lot more health, and then over the span of the 4 minutes, you have to take those 3 enemies down.
Bro, boss enemies?
Yeah, boss, like mini bosses. I mean, I could see that. That's what this kind of reminds me of is Mad Max. But in Mad Max, you got abilities. You can shunt the car and all that shit. I don't know. Here you just can't. I think if they add a little bit of abilities and switch over to the point system, I think it'll be a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Basically, the current system is lacking a challenge. Yeah, there are obviously ways to do it, but they just didn't go for it for whatever reason. I don't know whose idea was that, but yeah, that was a wrong idea to do them the way they did. Not really realizing the potential, just like with many other things in the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, there is a way of making it better, clearly, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I guess to repeat it, it just feels rushed. Doesn't really feel like a thought through game mode.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when we can just come up with something that would make it more interesting, on the fly.
All right,
I feel like they kind of rushed it though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it definitely does feel rushed. I mean, I feel like a child could come with this. But anyways, what about the CC thing? Contracts are now gone. The only way you can earn is through Motor Pass.
I think for the majority part, I felt that the whole CC thing is kind of like people say it's positive, people say it's negative. I don't know, like, but I'm hearing from both sides. For me, I just feel that taking away like her earning CC every day is kind of like a step backwards. And then when you introduce motor pass, it's they think that it's probably a step towards something, but it's actually digging even deeper to the hole, like, I don't know. I just felt like they should just kept it, and then probably like allow people to earn CC and buy the pass.
I feel slightly differently about it. I feel the contracts were never really CoNtENT to begin with. That the fact that they replaced them with the daily stuff from the Motor Pass, I think that's fine. The problem though is the amount of CC that you could earn versus what you can earn now and what you have to pay now to get the actual content, which is just the vehicles that are locked inside this pass. So just making the pass give you more crew credits would already solve the problem for me. You still have the daily things you have to do in the form of the daily contracts. You still, if you earn more from the motor pass, then you solve the issue of just not getting enough crew credits. And like I don't feel like I need
contracts.
I don't feel like I need crew credits because I don't feel like I'm owed the vanity stuff. I just feel like the vehicles inside the pass are a mistake. If there were no vehicles locked inside this pass, I would not have a problem with contracts being removed and the pass being as expensive as it is. I feel that the vehicles is just my main problem.
Yeah, the rewards themselves are a mistake. Like, I'm really indifferent towards losing contracts. I really didn't care for them most of the time. Like, I skipped a lot. I couldn't be asked to, do them, even if I log in the game. Like, I would more likely than not just play PP and often forget contracts. That's not a problem for me personally. Just the rewards themselves, like the useless bugs, the horns. What else was there? Emotes?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
emotes.
struggling to even remember some of those rewards, like how irrelevant they are for me, and I bought it, like, bruh. like half of it could be easily gone. Even if the pass stays at the same price, I wouldn't care. Like that would make my life better because I wouldn't have to skip through the tiers which are, irrelevant to me, like dimension horns, emotes, bugs. Like that would just make Murder Pass for me better. I wouldn't have to sit there
Sure.
for so long and wait for actual good rewards like cars, smokes, and stuff.
A lot of just filler stuff in there. Absolutely agreed.
Mm.
Yeah, and that filler is wasting your time.
But that's the nature of a motor pass, though. To just have like pad out a bunch of shit, just throw in a bunch of shit. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But there's gonna be some stuff that you like. I feel like that goes for any type of season pass type deal.
The problem is the ratio for me. Like I said, a lot of them are really irrelevant. Way too many. For me, that just shouldn't be a thing. It should be more than half of something good, in my opinion.
Mm.
You're
I
not
mean,
getting
good is
compensated
obviously.
fully for it.
I think for me it's just that I don't know why they have so many emotes there. That's the
Oh yeah,
most
that
trigger.
I can
That's the
definitely see
more
that as padding. Like the emotes,
that's
that's
the
like easy content. That's like putting in sprays.
that's the most triggering thing of this update. Like they added so many of that stuff, but they don't want to do anything else.
The
So
bucks
it's like
are insulting as well. I feel $50,000 is just nothing. Like, what are you gonna do with $50,000?
Yeah,
You can
that's
buy
just
like a
two
one bumper
races.
on a hypercar.
That's
mm,
just two races. That
Like
tier gives two races for you.
it's filler. It's just filler. Like if it was maybe like $300,000, and okay, that's a reward, you know. But now to get that amount, you need to, like 20 levels or something like that, and it's just not a reward like this.
Yeah, and besides like bugs, there are also stars, and both of them didn't really, cost them any time to make. Like they did the system in place way back when, and they just award you some virtual points which are infinite. They don't have to work on them every time.
mm,
Yeah, the
That's a
stars
real
is
shortcut for
the
them.
stars, I guess, is something they implemented so the people who pay for the pass progress faster. But the amount of stars you get, like the amount of levels you gain, is just so minimal. Like, I don't feel it makes a big impact at all. So again, it just feels like filler at this point.
Yeah, and like if you would remove some of those, filler tiers, you wouldn't even need those stars to progress, at the same rate.
mm.
And the way I see this season pass at least, it's just a hobbies V2 locked behind a paywall.
I
Pretty
really
much, yeah.
confused Hobbies V2. Like
Yeah.
the reward system is confusing. Some of the stuff
Mm.
there is confusing. What purpose is it even serving? Like, how can they explain it without, not running into some sort of an issue? Like,
It's
the
even
only
worse than
good
hobbies.
explanation is shortcutting the time on development.
It
Like,
feels
that's the
actually
best
worse than hobbies
explanation.
to me, only because there's a time gate on some of these things. Like there's a lot of stuff you can only do one day, and it's just the limit. And there's a lot of stuff just locked away behind the time gate that you cannot even start doing them until a certain week.
So drip fed hobbies.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. You have to wait for new content every single time, even though it's already in the game. You just have to wait for them to unlock it.
Yeah, stretching it is really upsetting.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And the way other season passes do it to stretch it is, through their own leveling, ranking up system. And usually that takes time. Usually you can rank up from like level 1 to like 1,000, no problem. But here, since they put it in so late into the game, they can't necessarily do that. So to implement these stars and challenges, so it's basically just hobbies V2.
Also, there's no gameplay loop. Like for example, I remember the Rocket League season pass really well. In Rocket League, you just play games, and the season pass just takes those games. Like for every game you play, you earn season pass experience. Let's call it like that.
Yeah.
And like that, you can just keep earning more and more the more you play. But with the Crew 2, it's just not possible to do it like that because there is no gameplay to base that off. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of odd if they kind of did that for like races. Like, oh, you earned this much for a season pass, like, huh? So yeah, doing it through a challenge like hobby style would be the only way, and I don't know. I think it would have been fine if all the challenges were just there, and then the hobby like it, and if they actually did it like hobbies, actually have access to all the challenges, and then you know, had challenges rotating.
Then we would have 1 week worth of content at most,
Yeah.
and then be done for the rest of the 2 months.
Well, at least with that week, you would have some freedom. You would play actually more for a little bit. You would
Yeah, no,
have
but
a feeling that something came out that, you
it
have
really
some.
does highlight how little they actually added to this update.
For
Yeah.
them to have to pad it out.
It just feels even worse if it's separated into those small pieces and bits. It's just not significant enough on its own. That's the problem with stretching. It would be way better if it was actually packed like with hobbies.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right, in the motor pass though, which vanities stuck out to you that you actually like? For me, it was the honeycomb like tire, the blue like honeycomb
Hyper
spiderweb.
Beast.
Yeah, that
Hyper
one.
Beast. Yeah.
That one's
Or
kind of
the
hot.
chase smoke.
Hyper Beast tire
Yeah.
felt creative for sure. That's something.
And I love that design. I was like, damn, it's see
Yeah.
through. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, tires, smokes, and even some underglows are pretty alright. That's like
For
we
me,
should
it's
have had more of it,
I
more of
think
that.
for me it's the entire the collection of the chase, basically the underglow, the smoke, and the tires, and then there's the hyper beast tire, and I think that's about it. Those are the ones that I like.
I'll be real. I dislike most of the vanity in the past. I think it's just not visually pleasing to me. I guess I just prefer more stock looking vehicles like the just the interceptor tires, the silver interception unit or whatever it says. Those look alright to me. And then like the Hyper Beast ones, those are creative at least. I can respect that. I'm not really sure why it has to be neon blue on the side.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. But like the
Mm.
underglows are just way too big and screamy to me. The nitrous just doesn't look pleasing to me. None of them. The smoke trail I think looks a bit overdone with the trails when you're driving and the sound. It's I don't know. Maybe this is just not for me and that's fine. But it's just not appealing to me.
Fair enough.
They're telling me you just don't like customization.
I think customization is fine. I use the stock underglows, the just a monochrome single color underglows. I like those a lot.
But the
And
flashier
similar with like
ones,
the tires where they just have a tire text in a certain color. I like those a lot. But like the really flashy ones that move and all that stuff, it's just not for me.
I'm still waiting for that animated tire.
Well, I guess it's a matter of a personal preference. For me,
Yeah.
most of it is fine. Just cut out that stuff like horns, the emotes that just doesn't add any.
Yeah, the single color vanity, like the single color neon was the ones that I liked a lot. Just because that reminded me so much of older games like Midnight Club or like Underground 2. Like
Yeah.
those got me, but I would have preferred to just have one thing and then give us a slider for that. Like, oh, you want Underground Neon? Okay, like the single color or the flashy ones, pay like quadruple the price of what a normal one would cost, and then you just get all the colors because you can move a slider.
Yeah, I guess that's similar in GTA, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, not exactly. You still pay per color, I guess. But I don't know. I can understand why they don't do it because like this, there's just so much more money to be made. And let's be real, vanity is just there purely to generate cash for them.
Yeah, yeah. I can see why they would milk it by separating all the colors into different.
I would just rather have, for example, more tire recolors. Like, you can recolor stuff like the red stripe Profo tire, the actual good ones. You could give it a few more colors. For example, many more people would have actual good tires from the competitive standpoint, which
I-
would actually make cars good and stuff.
I feel like that shouldn't actually be a thing. Like the whole tires actually moving and making the car better. That just shouldn't be a thing. So
That's a whole nother kind of worms.
Yeah, that's a whole.
It is here. Not much we can do at this point. Just give it to more people.
Yeah.
Give more options. Give more chances.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's move on to Oh, these cars. How many cars are there? Like 5 currently? No, like 6.
Do you mean from the past or from the?
Combined that are available right now.
Yeah, it's 5. Unless
No.
you count the DD is 6.
It's 3 in the pass, 2 in the shop, and then another hypercar in the pass. And actually another hypercar in the shop as well. Wait, what? And then the demo derby one.
Oh.
So
2
it's
hypercars and then 5 streetcars and a demo derby car.
Oh, so we got 8 cars coming right out the gate.
But yeah,
Like half
all
of them
of
are
them
locked
except
behind.
2 are reskins.
Yeah.
I just feel like the cars which are different physically are a big mistake. Like that just shouldn't be a thing for a pass which is essentially a vanity pass. Let's call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
don't make the separate, unique white bodies for now. You shouldn't touch it. That's the main issue with the whole Mother Pass. Like, if they didn't put actually different experience of a car there, like they did with the Star way back when, they didn't learn from it, from the looks of it, and continued the very same thing.
Even if they were identical, I still have a problem with it. Because right now, in the upcoming summit, there will be events which are locked to interception units, and the best interception unit vehicle is the M8, which your testing shows, Deco. And the only interception unit you can buy right now is the Dodge Demon, which is just, in my opinion, one of the worst ones. So in that situation, you still have a pay-to-win situation where the people who paid for the pass and progressed through it have the best vehicle for a summit event.
I guess that's just the problem of even including those events in the summit, because
Exactly.
that's just really stupid. It's one of the most abusable events in the crew as well. I don't know. The spirit of the summit is long lost by this point. It was actually better at the start of the game, as funny as it is. Like, when it released, we actually had hopes for it becoming better and better, but it actually turned for worse when they enabled traffic. Then they stripped off the weekly events. Then
It's
they
a story
stopped
for the whole
even
game, really.
remotely following certain themes. Like sometimes you would have, let's say, a water-based summit, which would be called H2O, and you would have a lot of land events there for some reason, or like have, I don't know, like summer summits full of snow events for no reason whatsoever. There's just no spirit behind it anymore.
I guess the story of it feeling like it's progressively becoming worse is just the story of the entire game. That's what I feel like. They've just not actively been fixing problems. They've been introducing more problems. They've been introducing just worse and worse content every single update. That's how I feel.
Yeah, possibly it is. It is, I guess, correlating with the bigger picture. Yeah, the potential is still there. Like we talked, the events could still be improved and done better. It's
Mm.
just
But
a
yeah,
lot.
back to the
We
cars, I
never
guess.
actually tap into that potential.
Back to
Yeah.
the cars, I guess. I think visually, the M8 looks like an absolute beast. The Corvette is, it's a Corvette. It looks alright. It's as an interception unit, I think it's fine. Demon and the Shelby, they're both visually attractive looking. It's alright.
Yeah, the
I
looks
just
are actually the good part about them.
Yeah, the performance though, like the Shelby and the Demon, I just don't really like how they drive, I guess.
It's a bad choice of a car because of how much wheel spin they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't pick a car with a massive amount of wheel spin. The recovery on them is just way too tragic.
Yeah.
The thing I have a problem with is the visual parts that are on there. I mean, I understand they're just special, but like, I kind of want those on my regular one because I just know the regular one's better.
Yeah, I want that wide body on the usual M8. It would actually look better because, the car kind of looks like a long land yacht. But if you actually make it a little bit wider, like the Interceptor, it looks way better.
Yeah, and the M8 though has has those has that big ass GT wing. It has two of them for whatever reason,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
no
yeah.
wide body to match up with that. So like you just have this huge ass thing that's just super fucking tall, and the car just looks tiny with it. Then you have
It
these
looks ready
huge.
for a race kit. Like, it even has the tinted yellow lights from GT cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
Like,
feels a bit lackluster in the customization, so I absolutely agree.
Kind of
like
like they stripped off that wide body and put it into the Interceptor,
yeah.
which is again stupid. They are making it worse for the usual car. They are making it harder by the fact that the handling team has to balance it, and we have to test it. Then the handling team has to very likely rebalance it because they don't get it well, on the first time usually. You can see it by the box cars as well. They're just nerfed to such an oblivion. They don't seem confident in their balancing at all. Like, they just remove grip entirely on some of those wide body cars. It's
Yep.
it's really tragic. They just shouldn't make that choice. Just give the wide body to both. Just give the same stats and play around on all the other parts, the hoods, the lights, the bumpers, the spoilers. All that stuff could be changed, but no. They pick out one thing which shouldn't be changed and they change that.
Yep. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So what you want is for them to be kind of like the vanity cars that we get in the shops every so often.
No, those vanity cars are also a problem. That's what
They
Deco
were
is
they were
highlighting.
basically part of the same problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the high octane. That's a really good example. The
No,
car
no,
is
no, no, no,
wider.
not those ones. I mean
Wait.
the other vanity cars, the cars that come with vanity, but like they have customization options already on them. That's what I'm
Yeah,
referring to.
partially, but like have something more to them. Have something more. Like I said, a unique spoiler. For example, the interception Chiron is actually, from the visual standpoint, it looks like it's done alright because it actually has that carbon Chiron spoiler, which you wouldn't get on the usual version. That spoiler wouldn't affect your handling. It
Yeah.
doesn't affect handling in the game, so it's a completely fine choice, and that's an example of how it should be done.
But it still
You could
handles
just go
differently.
bank on it more. Yeah, that's another issue. I don't know why they even feel like they should handle differently. that just shouldn't be a thing. That's exactly what we are getting at.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
should drive the same.
All right. Yeah. I feel that. I get what you mean on that, but it's carbon though. It should be faster.
It's especially unfortunate, I guess, with the Corvette. The bare interception Corvette would be just putting police lights on the usual Corvette because it's simply quicker. You would catch more like that.
Yeah. I can see what you mean. Just including police lights or making them like default.
Yep.
Just a regular
I
car should
actually
have all the option of the interceptor.
no. I mean the body stuff and all that stuff. Yeah. I feel like that's like that should be on the normal car. But like the play stuff, kind of like the special stuff, I think that should be
Yeah.
left to the interceptor. But then that would be kind of like, I don't know, they make it kind of like a CC card almost. I mean, that would be
I can simplify all that. Just don't move wheels. Do everything else, but don't touch stuff on wheels. You know, just don't touch stats. Don't touch wheels. Easy.
Yeah.
Done.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
All right then. We want to. Where are we at? All right, we talked about the CC, the cars, and the motor
Mhm.
pass, and the vanity. All right. What about the live summits? Current ones, past ones, upcoming ones that you're looking forward to?
None.
None. Oh, okay.
Yeah, really not looking forward to it because it's a downward spiral on the summits. It's not really giving anything to us anymore. Like when it was placed in shots, we could still get some new events, for example, but now, no, not the case anymore. So
Yeah, there's no new
Mhm.
events. The rewards are mediocre. The only new thing I saw in there was like a nitrous that looked just yellow and red, I guess. And just I don't know, man. There's just no creativity in the summons anymore. There's just I don't know, no feeling to it anymore.
yeah, the only thing which remains consistently the same is sometimes out of nowhere, some cars in the summit receive a massive buff.
Yeah.
All right, you're talking about the summer edition cars.
Yeah. That's the only thing which doesn't change. For some reason, they are okay with making summit cars massively OP.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
And then, do you feel that summits are just kind of getting more and more lackluster because there's been so many of them that's just been gone for so long? For was it almost 3 years now, or 2 years?
They are
My
just
bad.
not putting out enough stuff in the game to, spice up those summits.
They're just not releasing actual enough content, like an actual amount, for them to
Yeah.
warrant to keep changing it up.
At
Like if you
least an
still
event
had
every
a new
week would
event,
still spice it up.
yeah, just a new event in there every week, like they started with, that would already help it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could just make more of those events, in actual different disciplines and maybe base it off of that instead of being like old events, but we just randomly decided that it's being about one main discipline for no reason whatsoever, not attached to anything. But when the event would be coming out, like, I don't know, a new rally raid event, that would call for more off-road stuff in the summit. That would call for some sort of a theme because there would be a new off-road event. But now it's just like they are randomly decided on it because they don't have those events to base stuff anymore on.
Yeah,
You know?
but I feel like at any event, each summit. I mean, we did have that for a while, like even currently, but I feel like the events themselves were kind of lackluster too. So like that really didn't even play into a factor of, oh, the summit's getting better. It's just no, it just felt like it was getting overall worse because not only were they adding a new event, but it was also a bad event.
Yeah, but like at the start of it, when they actually ventured into some different disciplines, it was way better because of that. Like, at least from time to time, we had some cool events, like, those rallycross events, point-to-point ones, which were actually done good, or the sand dunes, which we loved so much. Like, if they just ventured more into those different disciplines, that would be way better. But instead, obviously, they don't have a good idea on what to do in street anymore, even though there are some locations which are not so used, but they are just not going there. And yeah, they just milk their creativity for the street at this point, I feel.
Yeah,
They just need
I
to utilize more disciplines.
I think they already went through all of Rally Raid, and yeah, I'm pretty sure they did use every single Rally Raid track at one point for the summits, but the other disciplines I can't say so much about. I don't know. I don't remember.
It's not even really the problem if they have used every single one or not, though, because like if you release a new rally raid event, for example, you can add more of the old rally raid events in the summit too. Like
yeah.
you can have themed summit. I think that's not a problem, but I just feel like all the events in there we have done so many times.
Yeah.
Like not just in the summit, also outside of the summit. So we know those tracks inside out. There's just nothing really entertaining me
It
by
just-
doing the summit.
It just feels very repetitive. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Everything just calls for new events, for new racing events, for using different disciplines more.
So,
And I guess
so,
they're trying to do that now with the chase events in the summit, but I think those are just a really, really bad fit for the summit because they're, competitively speaking, absolutely horrible.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
the same
yeah,
discipline.
and
This is the same family. Street. They are
it's
focusing on it
and,
again for no reason.
and the point scoring for these events are just kind of shit. Also, not gonna lie.
Yeah, true.
So would you go so far as to say that the summits are good because they were new, and because we didn't like rotate through all the events just yet, like in the beginning? Like now that we're so far into it, that it's become more repetitive. We played every single event multiple times, and like the rewards are starting to get more and more less creative. I mean,
Like
the
you can get
rewards.
creative with the.
I mean,
Yeah.
the rewards in the beginning were what, like a couple of like it was the same as now.
Mm.
Some vanities, and I don't think we had sets yet. Like they weren't putting those out yet, but
I think so. I think there were a couple sets.
was there?
Yeah.
I think those
Yeah,
are
just
just.
a little less. There were less, but they were.
I think those are just regular sets. They weren't like the boosted sets that we have now.
Yeah.
No, we had the boosted drift set, which they screwed up.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
That
about
was
that
already
one.
like the second ever premium summit that I was in already, right?
They probably had all those ideas which they are using now on the summit. Way back when. Right now,
But yeah.
it just comes to the point where they are not leaving themselves much of a choice. They're, they are coming up with the summits from thin air, nothing else, to facilitate that system anymore.
Yep.
So would you say that'd be a case of not writer's block, just fatigue? I would say. It's been going on for so long and trying to fill in what nine events, and trying to make a new event almost every week for like a crossover. I mean, I could argue that the like we do get a new event every single summit with the crossover, but
Yeah.
I mean
it's half of an event.
I mean, it's a new experience. You're driving a different car that's not supposed to be on the track, but then again, you could do that in the free roam.
Yeah, there were some creative ones with like the plane on the rally raid, and there was some stuff in there that I felt was creative. But lately we've had like just street on a hypercar track, hypercar on a touring car track. I feel just very uninspired by them. Like the actual experience is not very different a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Like because like the difference between a hypercar and a touring car, like what? It's not really that big.
I mean, new handling model, Lamal.
I mean, we have touring cars with new handling model too. Let's be real. That's what everybody uses.
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
And
I
I
think
guess Radical in chat also raised a really good point: is that you cannot play those outside of the summit. Like
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
they're just gone once the summit is gone. I guess that makes them somewhat interesting inside the summit. That's one thing I can say for it, but I just don't feel compelled to learn the track because there's no real reason to do so because there's not a leaderboard that will stay up.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
chase events actually set an interesting precedent in the menus. In the activities tab, you have this special place now. Why not have some place where those summit events would be permanently saved?
The like the
a
crossover
box that would
events.
say special events or something, or crossover summit events, something like that.
I think they could add that. Like to the live thing. Like they could literally just theme it to the live thing, where it's smaller live events. I feel like they
Yeah.
could have gone that route to where you're getting content every week, but the content is basically half of a track because it's just a combo, and then they throw that into the live area and just name it like live qualifiers or something. I don't know. Name it, but like, be interesting with it.
Still
Like-
wouldn't feel like it would capture me for very long. I prefer actual new tracks every week
But-
as well.
Yeah, but that's at least a small little bit of replayability compared to what we have right now.
But yeah, GeForce, like instead of having a track only available for 1 week, you would have it available from that summit onward.
Yeah, like I think it's a good idea to have, but on its own, it doesn't really satisfy me enough to call it
Well,
good
yeah,
enough.
it definitely wouldn't be something major. It would just be, a good
An
addition to
addition,
the
yeah.
replayability of the game.
Because I would still feel summits will improve if they have actually good new tracks in there, and I mean good new
Yes.
tracks, not the
Yes.
just hold W or right trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually funny how the situation of right now even made me more positive about some other events, like the Sand Dunes, which I already mentioned. Now I actually feel like it's a good event. It was really unique. I didn't appreciate it enough way back when.
Yeah, way back when
I'll be
everyone.
honest, I hated it. I hated sand dunes, and I have grown to respect it. At least I don't like driving it, but at least respect it because there is definitely a very high level of skill required to see the lines you have to take with all the bumps.
Yeah, and just the
I
fact
don't
of
like driving it
trying
still, but-
something different, something that actually requires some sort of a different technique from like the rest of the game.
Yeah,
A really nice, unique event.
yeah.
Not for everyone, not for everyone for sure, but like even with the disciplines itself of the game, you could say it about most of the disciplines that they are not for everyone. So you shouldn't be afraid to add unique events. You are already in that situation where some players just don't want to play certain disciplines, but the structure of the game is what it is. It's
Yeah.
unavoidable. So why not bank on it more?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, what about these sorry.
Bro.
My bad. The what about these repeats? Some of these players are being like, hey, this guy already has it. Why should he be able to get it again and just get bucks for it? I should be able to get it. Entitlement. People arguing about that.
Yeah, I just have a problem with those people in a sense, and I have a problem with Ivory Tower putting repeats in there in the first place. I feel the vehicles shouldn't be exclusive. I feel like after a couple of months they should just be purchasable, or at least a version of the vehicle purchasable. Like have, I think I saw on Reddit somebody suggested like have a special colored license plate or something on the vehicle when you unlock it through the summit, like a gold license plate or something, and when you buy it, it has just a regular license plate.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that way you can still, brag that you've won the award, that you have a unique vehicle in a sense, and then the vehicle itself, the experience of driving the vehicle, isn't locked to the couple people who drove it in the summit.
Okay,
Who won it
yeah,
in the summit, I mean.
I like the idea with the license plate. That denotes that it's still, a reward that you got from being a top 3,000 versus, oh, I just bought the car. That's good.
I mean, you could still go for something like spoilers again. They did it with the Red Fury and Black Knight, differentiated them with the spoilers and the lights.
But there would still always be people that would like, well, I prefer those other spoilers and lights. I want that version of the car. And I think that's fine. I think it should be available for them to buy. But just have like one little tiny thing that doesn't really matter, like a license plate, for example, that has, that little badge of, hey, I'm unique.
Yeah,
I guess that way it still remains a reward, but then the experience of like the visual of the car is still the
Make
same.
summit badges on the car.
yeah.
Yeah, like a
think
golden badge or something. It'd be fine with me.
you're talking about adding like a badge next to like all the other badges on the car already. Like I think that would play a little bit into like the copyright and how the manufacturer wouldn't want their game badge right next to their like Mitsubishi logo or
They
whatever.
could still make it through something like liveries and stuff.
But I feel like that in itself would be kind of tacky. And
Yeah, liveries can be copied as well. Deco. Like I think the license plate is one of the better ideas I've seen.
yeah,
Because
license-
especially because people want license plate customization. But if you, for example, make the color gold unique to the summit, for example, maybe like a platinumy silver color, like a blue silver.
I
That
do
way.
agree with the license plates existing as the vanity. It's one of the options which people asked for. And it would be way nicer to have a license plate instead of, a shrug emote or something from the Meta Pass. Way better. That would
No.
actually show on your car at all times instead of something that could actually be blocked.
But yeah, and in my thought process, I think some of the vehicles should be purchasable after like I don't know, like 6 months at the
Yeah.
max of when they were really released. So,
I was thinking like 3 or 4 months, but yeah, same idea.
yeah,
I definitely need some better idea of repeating them at least.
Because the repeat summits, again, it just is something that is not new content for us. It's like another 3 weeks where there's things that all of us have already done. The rewards are not interesting because we already have those. The events are not interesting because we've already done them.
Yeah,
So
repeats
there's
in
just
that way just don't work.
it's not content for us. So I feel like just removing repeats by making summit cars purchasable in a slightly different variation would solve that problem, that we don't need repeats anymore.
There was one of the ideas which would keep that system, but reduce its duration to like 1 week at the very most at each, update. Just give some sort of a token or whatever for the platinum slot for the repeat summit. It could be whatever. You could even put the new events there, but just have that token on the last week so that the person could, There are plenty of people who miss just 1 or 2 cars, for example, from the active community. And at the end of each update, you give them an opportunity to earn that token, and they just can choose whatever car they want the most from the summit cars, for example.
Yeah, okay,
from
but
the
you still have a
past.
situation where the top 3,000 are the only people that will get that token, and those are, I mean, there will be some people in there that still need vehicles, but a lot of them have most, if not all, of the summit reward vehicles. Like there will still be people complaining that they couldn't get the token.
I just don't see Ivory Tower dropping the exclusivity for them. They seem to insist on it, They seem very firm with the exclusivity of those cars, and having at least some free choice, an opportunity to actually score something from way back, like TDF, which wasn't repeated ever, or the Ghost Truck, better than what we have now.
I do think the tokens are a better idea than what we have now. Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Trying to not have it all at the same time, trying to not ask for too much, basically.
I feel like we should
That
be
would
asking for
basically
too
keep
much,
the
though.
same system, just improved.
What were you gonna say, Miku?
Regarding no, I was gonna about say regarding repeats. I did say this idea like quite some time ago. Like why not they do a I know what I'm gonna say is probably too much an effort for Ivory Tower to do, but what I was thinking that what if like if let's say the people that have already got this car, they could probably like do another summit that a car they don't have, so as to like avoid like having repeat winners. But then there is another problem that comes arises when what if the people that have all the summit cars, what are they gonna do? Like they need these fillers for the repeats.
You mean like pat the summits until the next update, right? Or
Yeah. So let's take example, right? Take example like recently we had the repeats. Like let's say the people who already have the peppermint, they could probably like they will probably get a summit, probably something that they don't have, like the red panther or maybe the TDF, like you said.
Oh,
And
like
then
give
yeah,
people. Oh,
there'll be like two two or more summits like running simultaneously. But the problem is that
that's rough.
yeah, that's gonna be rough, and that's a lot of effort. And then the other problem comes to that is that what
You're
if
putting the
the
player base up though.
yeah, what if the other problem is that what if the people that already have all the cars like us here, what are they gonna do for that week? You know, they won't have any summit to play for the week.
That's why I told that you could do a unique summit with some event combination. It could be whatever, and just give that token as the
Yeah,
pattern
Yeah.
reward.
that might work. But like I said earlier, like GeForce mentioned, it's gonna be rough and it takes a lot of effort. Like there's too much to
I think
put into it.
the token system is the easiest to implement, and
Mm.
I guess the best idea. I mean, of course, I'm biased, but that's the one I was talking about. Is just make them purchasable, so we don't have the repeat situation in the first place. I think both the token and what I suggested are fine, are good enough.
Yeah, at this point, I would be okay with people buying them. Just looking at having some easy way out of the situation where many people don't have some relevant cars for some races. For example, the Panther. Like, if you don't have it, yeah, that's just rough life. You wouldn't even be able to experience that huge power which it has. Even if you have clutch, you wouldn't have the best version of it. The usual SDK is not as explosive on the straights.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess.
But I guess that's a
the thing we
balancing
agree
thing,
on
right?
is,
That's another can of worms we could
yeah,
open.
something has to be done, like one way or another.
Alright, this is already brought up into the chat. But this wouldn't be a problem if the summit cards aren't OP.
I disagree.
But no, you disagree on that?
Like, even if they're just handling wise different and superior to the regular version, even if it means they're still worse than the best cards in the tier, I still think that everybody should be able to experience them.
Yeah,
Okay.
same as the motor pass. If they drive differently, even on the same kind of speed, it's it's an issue.
So you're going for the communist route.
No, sir, please, no. Let's
Don't,
not go there.
don't start shitting politics.
Oh, just mess around.
Yeah, that's not supposed to go down this way.
Alright, I think we've talked enough about the summits. Alright, overall thoughts on this update. Did they actually add anything new?
Nope.
No.
Yes, no, okay.
They added a
Unfortunate.
clone of the Burnout Paradise takeout or whatever Need for Speed that they took it from. It's not interesting content. The vehicles, I guess, are new. The C8 and the M8 and the rest is just reskins. Is not interesting.
Yeah.
The motor pass is just extortion or whatever you call that. It's just, no, nothing interesting was added.
Yeah, the event type is just not done right to be actually counted. Like we said, it would be better if it would actually directly rip off the other game and have it the time limit instead of the takedown limit. Like, just
Yeah.
that little improvement would make it more significant already.
Yeah, I do agree.
I'm gonna go with
I don't know. At
nothing.
least personally, I had more fun with the burnout way of doing it.
Same.
But Burnout's a better game though.
Yep.
Alright, alright, let's move on to the state of PvP. It's been the same
boy.
since
Oh
launch.
no.
It's been the same since its launch. Nothing much has changed. Only a few playlists has been updated. From the pit crew, they were taking playlists that people made from there, putting it into that. A couple of them were named Player's Choice, which doesn't give any relevance to us because was there a survey for that? No, I don't think so. So who the hell was making these choices for us? That can also be said
I'll
for
be
the
honest,
Player's Choice
I
summits.
actually put one of those lists together. I was not allowed to. I was not in pit crew, but let's just say I had a connection with someone who was in there, and I was able to make one, and he just submitted it under his name.
Yes.
I don't think ranks was actually the big
I
funny.
I know.
I actually like
know.
that.
So in the state of PvP, that this also plays into checkpoint placement too,
Yeah.
and it's been the same for, like I said, field launch. What do you think about it?
They did improve it at some point. Like at launch, it was kind of horrible. There were a lot of people who straight up couldn't play, like a lot more than now. But then, was it like after a month or two, they had a patch which addressed it? And like at that point, I could have sessions of like 4 hours consistently, and it would work for me. But I guess after that, it was largely abandoned, and because of that, the stability deteriorated. From acceptable meh.
Stability is a
Not very
really
good
big
enough.
problem. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like if stability was better, it would already be a significant step above what it is now. Just getting kicked out is just such a nuisance. It just removes enjoyment when you
There
know,
are
like, oh,
some
I'm gonna play half an hour and then I'm gonna get kicked.
there are some design choices which are leading to that as well, like letting people join the lobbies which are about to explode in like 2 seconds. You sometimes see a full lobby pop up, but you just know that 2 seconds is not enough. That lobby shouldn't be reachable anymore. But all those people would have on their search pop up 7 players found, full lobby, and then after that they would have explosion because the timer itself in the lobby which they found is configured that way.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it just doesn't pause. It doesn't give people time to connect. It found people, but it doesn't give them time to connect. It slows the lobby, and you search again.
Yeah.
There are some stupid design choices like that.
I feel like that's just the game not updating quick enough. Rather than that being a stability thing, because I know the
Yeah, but
timer.
you could account for that. Yeah, like I
Yeah,
said, it's
like
a design choice.
if people are connecting, I
Yeah.
think they should just pause the timer. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a bad design choice, like you said.
Same goes, for example, for ranks. The ranks just don't have any significance to them because they are designed that way.
There's no incentive to the ranks as well. I just feel like it's very dumbed down from TC1. Like in TC1, at least you hit a certain rank, at least you get some stuff out of it. Like you can probably
Yep.
purchase it. But then like in TC2 uh it's just nothing. It's just a sticker.
Yeah, I keep telling that, and I keep telling how to improve it with just a simple ELO system, which would calculate the quality of the lobby. For example, if you have 7 bronze 4s versus 1 plat 1, for the plat 1, that would be a really low quality lobby. For the bronzes, it would be a high enough quality lobby because the plat 1 is there, and if they beat it, they should have a bigger reward for it, for example. And yeah, just round the numbers back and forth. Like one side should be making bigger in that case, obviously, the other less. Just round those numbers. Just give rewards accordingly to the quality of the lobby you are opposing. Make a leaderboard for that, so that the guys with the higher numbers would actually have some incentive to, go up even more. For example, you would actually know people who are the best in PP even more in the face than now. Besides just streaming, there would
Yeah.
be, an easy start, which would show some people. Even more people would know about it. Maybe more people would get actually interested in playing it. You could go on for long, like from very small things, which would improve it a lot.
I feel
Like
like
that
in order
design
for it to
research and
also
then the
get played
ranks.
more. Yeah, you done?
Yeah.
I feel like also in order for it to get played more, just the connection, like I feel it would be more interesting with collisions semi on, like the way Forza does it. Like it has a RAM detection, I guess. Maybe that's too advanced for TC2. That might be another thing, but just something that makes these events more interesting, like just removing the shortcuts, having better checkpoint placement, not having the physical checkpoints, feels unfun right now. There's too many
Using more
factors in
disciplines
PvP.
as well.
Weather is also another problem. I feel like there's so many factors that just make PvP so annoying sometimes. Just like, oh, I just don't want to have to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
Like
And the
it,
funny
it
part
keeps
is,
me
if you
away from
drop the
PvP.
stability, GeForce, if you drop it, like besides it, it's really small things that we are mentioning.
Yeah, I feel like all of these things should be fairly easy to fix.
Yeah. Like,
Uh,
just add more disciplines, just add more variety, just tweak a thing here and there to actually ensure that the users connect when they actually found a lobby. Just tweak those ranks. And yeah, you would have instantly a way better experience if you address really small things. You wouldn't even have to change the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of tiny things that need to be fixed for PvP.
Mm.
Because, for
that'd be
example, bikes, I think bikes and cars could be in the same events, no
They should
problem.
they should
Yeah.
just remove the restriction already. I don't get why do we still have restriction up to
They
this
need to
day.
give the choice. For
I think they
example,
can, yeah, I think they can be balanced.
have the default option as a free pick on the track, but then have an option of actually voting the track and voting the type at the same time. For
Mm.
example, have 3 boxes on each track. You know, you would just have the same scroll, but I guess a little more steps, which would be way easier again on the keyboard. You would just have a mouse and instantly click the needed icon. But you have the default choice as a free pick, and then as an
Mm.
option, you could scroll to whatever type you want if you really want it to be one type. For example, if you would have private lobbies, that would help them. You wouldn't have to change the global settings of the lobby each time. You would just have, a quick vote on them easily if the
I
people could just agree.
I feel like the private lobby situation though will be a little bit of a double-edged sword because there's already not that many people playing PvP.
Enough
Sure.
people are actually playing. The problem is
I
just
don't know
that
about
little
that.
bit in DNA time zone. But even then, some of the people are suffering more from, again, instabilities, not knowing how the game works. They don't know when to back out, when to restart, when the explosion is because of the, um, again, design of the lobby timer, when the explosion is on their side. People don't know those little details. That's where just the stability of the game, the search system should be improved. And I'm telling you, you instantly would see way more. Sometimes I could just, I don't know, in the middle of the night, just queue and find a lobby within like 1 minute when people report me like they were waiting for 10 or something. And I just log in just to check. And it
Mm.
really doesn't take long for me. Because, yeah, I just typically don't have as many problems with stability as I guess some of those people. Like, I do still have some, but not to the crazy extent. And yeah, players are there. Players are definitely there. The game right now is not far from its all-time peak in terms of players on Steam. And then you also have Epic Games, Uplay, which are not counted towards that number. The player numbers are definitely enough. We just need a better design system.
Okay, but my thought process though on the private lobbies is that it kind of fragments people that just jump into the lobby and then people that are like people that only play PvP but then they only play in private matches.
Mm,
I
I don't
mean,
know if that's a significant issue. I think private lobbies will be relatively rare.
It wouldn't be that big of an issue if it's added so long after the release. It just wouldn't gain major weight, in my opinion. It would just make, organizing all the different events, like the meetups and stuff, it would just make life easier. But at the same time, it wouldn't,
I feel like
affect the
8-player
overall.
crews and just being able to remove AI set conditions for events would already fix that. We don't really need a PvP system for that, I suppose.
Yeah,
yeah.
you can just make an
I feel
8-man
like
crew
private
and,
PvP lobbies
queue
is
for
not
PvP.
an essential thing that needs to be added. I feel like it'd be nice if it was there. I don't feel like it needs to be added.
Well, yeah, definitely there is no need because, as you said, there is a way to sort of at it without adding it in a 8-man crew. But yeah, we don't know how hard it can be. There's probably a reason why it's 4-man. I don't see it, but whatever. If it has to stay 4-man, maybe give us a way to link the crews to, queue together. You wouldn't even have to add like a crew versus crew mode or private lobbies.
Yeah.
To link two crews to queue for PvP together. That would instantly make it, again, easier for all those special events and stuff.
No, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
you just
remember that one, the Boogaloo, which actually moved away from PvP because of the struggles?
Yeah. The struggles are actually real. We won a few races because of like other people.
Yeah, exactly. And linking crews or something like that would make it way easier. We could just have all the people which are in the event there. There wouldn't be slots for randoms.
This was also
And
brought up in the
technically, it would
chat.
still be the same PvP.
And this was also brought up in chat. The peer-to-peer system.
What system?
And the peer-to-peer system for the way they connect to people, like for the PvP and all that. I'm not
While I
sure.
hate it,
Definitely
I don't
adjust.
think that's something they can change it. It
Yeah,
needs
they
adjustment
can't
maybe, but I
change-
don't think they can change it to a server system because that just so much more strain on servers that will require a different ecosystem, I think.
They just have to improve it. They have to look basically at some other games. Like when I played, I always bring it up when it comes to this. When I played Grid 2, for example, when it was released, 2013,
Yeah.
it is peer-to-peer as well. And you know what happens when the host disconnects there? Like 99% of the time, nothing happens. Especially if you stare like in the middle of the screen or at the apex, you wouldn't even notice that small pop-up like somewhere to the um, low left corner of the screen. You would have a message that the host has changed, that it migrated. That's it. It wouldn't pause the game. It wouldn't stop anything. It is the same, system, the peer-to-peer. It just works better. It
It's
wouldn't be
just
that big of an issue
it's just
if it
so
worked better.
just really fluid. They're telling me.
Yeah, it doesn't stop the game. Not even a lag. Not even a spike of anything. You just play seamlessly. It is possible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know what you mean. Older Call of Duty, you should pause the game too, and for whatever reason, this game also pauses the game. We know it's
After all, just improving the system would be a way easier option than buying servers and stuff.
yeah.
Like improve the system so it sustains itself better.
I can see why pausing upon like somebody having connection issues is valuable, but the problem is the pausing in this game doesn't really solve the problem of
It's not done right.
desync. Like they're still desync even when the game pauses.
Yep.
It's like the very thing it is there and that I would assume to remove, it still does it. So might as well just remove the pause. Because if they desync and drop out, then okay, then they're just fucking dropped from the match. Too bad. Sucks for you. Rip your rank points.
Rank.
Yeah, the rank which doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
Which isn't even done correctly. So yeah,
Even if it was like in a hypothetical
around.
situation where there was a good ranking system and where rank points would matter, I still think like you can have, I don't know, man. Like Forza also does that better. I think you just desync yourself and then it just tries to match up in physics.
Yeah, basically the shortest answer to that, the gameplay should be prioritized. That's the easy way of saying it. Prioritize the gameplay. Stop interrupting it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel that. I'm behind that.
Good.
What about these playlists? Especially the not only limited to 2 playlists. I mean, I feel like that if there's any more, it would just start fragmenting things.
Yeah, I feel like the amount 2 or 3 should be fine. I think though that a race playlist should contain race disciplines like touring car and Alpha GP as well.
Yeah, they should spice up the main playlist. Touring car, rallycross, for example, those are the two disciplines which I feel like they have a good amount of content which could go there and just spice up the daily life of PvP.
Yep.
Especially the rallycross, in my opinion. There are some really, really nice tracks.
So like a 3 playlist system would be fine, like race, which would include touring car and rallycross on top of street and hyper, and maybe Alpha GP, but I guess that's just a bonus. But then another playlist with everything, just like a free for all, just everything goes, everything
Yeah.
So it's
And
like
then
that.
have a special
and then a
theme
third one with
between
only
them.
yeah, they can have a theme, but then the third one is just like the game mode type events like drifting and monster trucks or whatever.
Oh,
I
I
don't know.
see. You want
I don't play
the
those. So.
the point type ones. Like, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, just like the really not really competitive in the same way as races
So you,
type
you
of things.
would you lump what's it called, demolition derby in there too? Not
Yeah,
included.
Yes.
like the what people call quote unquote fun things to do in the game, like the non-competitive things that I would say.
Oh, okay. So would you even put the chase stuff in that one, and like make the
Chase in
chase in
PvP,
PvP with
How would that
like
work?
the amount
Definitely
of
not.
cars? You destroy
I
a
don't
certain
think it
amount of
would.
cars in a certain time limit.
I mean, you could get really screwed. Like you'll be screwed for being ahead because if you're behind someone, you just pick off their cars. So
Yeah. I don't think
I don't think this could viably work in a PvP situation.
Yeah.
The way it is now, at least.
I mean, that'd be a for fun playlist, but then again, yeah, like you said, I think the system they have to implement for that would be just too advanced for Ivory Tower to actually pull off.
But yeah, I mean, there's the non-race things like aerobatics, drift racing, touring car. I mean, fuck am I saying? I'm just fucking blanking right now. The demo derby, the monster trucks, like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And then the free fall would include stuff like hovercraft and jet sprint and powerboat.
Literally just anything that's a race.
Yeah,
Just have like a massive playlist that's like 100 plus
I mean,
events.
it could even have some of the other stuff in there, the fun play things. I don't really care because I probably mostly playing race anyways with only
I think
the actual race things.
the split is actually a nicer idea. Like have the points stuff to the side. The people who are focused on it can do just only that. And then to not bury stuff like the DD monster track races under it, have it in that second playlist instead.
Oh yeah, I guess that could be a
Point
distinction
stuff.
as well.
Yeah.
Just have the races of those disciplines that would be available in the giant playlist. Sure.
Yeah, just to ensure that more content is being used. Because if those races would be trapped in that so-called fun playlist, I just wouldn't visit them. You know?
Yeah.
But like overall, some of those races, for example, the ring from Demolition Derby for me is enjoyable. I just wouldn't go into it if it was, coupled with a lot of points event.
All right. So there's no complaints about the player numbers currently on PC at least.
Yeah, there are way more than enough. Trust me.
All right. So what if the game added crossplay and PvP was stable?
That would be insane. That would be life-saving for Stadia, for example.
That's kind of true. And, I mean, I wouldn't mind. But then the second thing that comes to mind is the mechanics of the game. Like, like this whole granny shifting has like been the biggest talk since like what Inner Drive, and it's
Oh.
like, how do you say, like, if us PC users have the advantage, is it really? It's gonna be a really kind of shit show. when we
Can't you
go up
still
to-
have it in console if you have a wheel that is supported? That's
No.
the problem.
No,
You
because you
can
can't
still have
rebind.
You can't bind clutch on consoles. That's the thing. So
So you are saying that there's no H shifter option whatsoever, even with this supported.
If you
with-
don't have an H shifter, you don't have the binds for it.
Hmm.
Well, then you could still have it with the H shifter if you have one. Like you could still.
Still, like, but still, like, how many people on the consoles are really gonna like play PvP competitively?
That's not a problem of PvP. That's a problem of the game overall. Not having enough accessibility, not accounting for different devices in a sufficient way.
Yeah, I think I agree with Deco. It should be fine if they just allow rebinds on console.
Yeah,
And
that's,
allow sequential with clutch, so people on controllers can also use clutch without having to do weird stuff like the Steam, whatever the fuck it is.
yeah. I just feel like, yeah, I understand that crossplay would be a good thing, but then you have this, you like I said, you get this issue of cars with granny shifting, that and then PC users will have advantage because they have clutch and so on.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's not a crossplay issue. That's just an
it's an
accessibility
overall
issue.
game
Yeah.
issue. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue of PvP. It's not about PvP really. It's about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
That could go the same, for example, for summits. Like I didn't play some events on the summits competitively because I knew clutch my result wouldn't be maximum.
Can you repeat that? You cut off a little bit.
I said that I didn't go for some summit events before I had clutch because I knew my result wouldn't be maximized. That's the problem outside of PvP. It exists in other game modes as well. It should be sorted for the entire game instead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it just needs to be consistent. I don't know why, like, they are putting this so late into the game. But yeah,
So slow switching just wasn't a thing.
yeah, it wasn't a thing.
So if slow shifting just wasn't a thing, crossplay would be okay because there no one would have advantage.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's no platform advantage, I mean, I guess maybe the performance issues on consoles might be a limitation, but
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like at least now, right there, everybody with a stock PS4 will have the same stupid frame drops compared
That's-
to on PC where you can run 60.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
That's one thing, I guess. But I feel like that's more of again a problem with the game and not a problem with crossplay.
yeah. I've actually played the game one controller, one on my PS4, and playing the game on my PC at the same time. See if I could match them up exactly. It just doesn't work. The engine isn't that consistent.
Yeah, I'm more than confident that I could play similarly on the console because I'm playing in 30 even on PC.
The input lag is kind of a big yikes.
I did play with some lag as well before when I used to run. Let's say that at some point I even cranked it too high and was playing it on high. And yeah, I still played it somehow. I don't know how, but I just could do that, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, what about these checkpoint placements for PvP, for just regular events in the summit?
I
that
feel
stuff.
like PvP, Summit, and a potential time attack mode, which should be in the game with the leaderboards, which we don't have. Those just should have separate checkpoints, the non-physical ones. They shouldn't be disadvantaged by the overall game presentation, which they are running in the usual PvE events. In my opinion, the usual PvE events shouldn't even be anything competitive. They just, straight up shouldn't even have leaderboards, in my opinion. Just have a time attack mode, which would focus on that.
It's like Forza.
Same, the same with the summits and PvP. Yeah, have it dedicated to the competition. Make it suitable for the purpose of it.
So like just get rid of the physical checkpoints and making the visual indicators.
The checkpoints themselves aren't actually physical right now. They just have those stupid heavy bollards on there that respawn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Remove those and just make them
Just nuke the bollards.
Just add more of those and remove the physical aspect of the things that are on the checkpoints. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, I guess the time attack mode is part of what we're trying to discuss right now. They should add that, and then have like an option of seeing a ghost and a delta to that ghost.
Yeah,
Okay.
would solve so much issues with some disciplines like the hypercar. Those longer events are basically unplayable for me because of the traffic. I'm just not viewing them as something competitive for myself, even though some routes are okay. Even
Okay,
with
so
all the cuts and stuff, I could do some cuts just fine. But when I get to the road after them, I just crash in traffic all the time. So because of it, that content basically doesn't exist for me. Just add the time attack mode, and I will instantly be there.
so you'll be okay with the regular events having all that bullshit, traffic AI getting all in your way, but then have a time
Yeah,
attack
have
mode
all
where any of
the
that stuff is just gone. Like
Yep.
you'll be
yeah
okay with that.
have all the presentation and stuff which they had in mind, whatever that is. Doesn't matter. Just have it in the usual events and a separate, bullshit-free time attack mode. Easy.
Okay. But the only way for that to work would be if your checkpoint placement was on point from the get-go. I don't think changing the checkpoint placement between those two modes should be a thing.
No, I agree. There should be the same exact checkpoint placement, but they can still have like the physical bollards on the casual version.
Yeah,
And just
yeah, okay.
remove them and make them like.
I just don't feel like there is any saving for those physical bollards. They are way
Yeah.
too big.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't like them, but I don't care if they're in the the casual version of the race. If they're not in the tryhard version, which I will be playing, so
I think changing them for flags would be better play. Yeah, flags or
Yeah.
something else. Something that's just super lightweight. I can just like it just doesn't matter if you tap it or something.
just remove the weight, and then they can look the same. I don't care.
I don't know. I still have a problem
Like
with
every
them
single
being that
thing you
big.
drive into in this game just doesn't slow you down, except the checkpoints. They're just so weird, physically speaking.
But I don't agree with them being the same size because even with like if you pin those against the wall, like they'll just spin your car out. Not careful.
Yeah, also they obstruct the view way too much.
But if they had no weight, then they wouldn't do that.
They would still fly.
No. They would
other
still.
The checkpoint, no, but they wouldn't, affect your car. Like I'm
No.
fairly sure if you're like stuck on like a flag or whatever, it doesn't affect you when you hit a wall with it.
No. I mean, you would drift like sideways into the checkpoint, and it would pin that checkpoint against the wall, and it would fling your car back
I know what
out.
you mean.
Yeah, like
That's what it does right now. But if you just remove the weight aspect of it, I don't think it would do that.
no, I think it would still do that. Like the checkpoint wouldn't be like if they moved the weight to the top. Like yeah, I could see the checkpoint just like going over the car, and like it wouldn't be a problem.
That's why we are talking of the competitive mode straight up not having it at all.
Light poses.
Just don't have those bollards in competitive mode.
I would think just change them out, but still keeping them like between both modes would be fine. Just
I've already
actually,
said before that they could write some lore about live cameras making some sort of glasses or something and putting the checkpoints, virtually in those glasses, so they can remove the physical aspect of it.
Yeah.
Bro, enhanced reality?
Yeah. I think that'd be a funny type of lore they could write. Like, oh hey, we notice you guys don't really like the physical aspect, so we partnered with Live to make these awesome goggles where they just get projected onto your race line. And then I guess the race line also makes sense in terms of lore.
Yeah.
Because that's also just projected on your goggles, your spectacles.
But that's not part of the creative vision.
It could be, and it should be. There you go.
I can get behind that. I like that idea. Actually, it's really nice idea. I want that now.
Every tower call me.
Hire this man. All right, let's move on. What else do we have here? Player tolerance to BS. I guess we're tolerating enough. Bugs. Oh yeah, all these nice bugs that we've had since launch. Not including stability or anything, but like just like the infinite glitch, falling down, falling in reverse, and going like 600 miles an hour, or what is it in kilometers? It's like 700 or something.
719 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like that tolerance is not in a big part due to the game. It's not, doing
You're
of the
gonna
game.
have bugs. Yeah, you're gonna have bugs. Whatever you do, the game is big. There's always gonna be issues, and
Yeah.
the only thing that we could be angry about is how they handle the bugs. And I think up until now they've handled them reasonably well. There have been like the actual abusing of things, glitches like the infinite nitro glitch and stuff like that. They've solved them. They've been relatively quick on solving them. I think that's fine. However, other things like, for example, the turbo sounds glitch that we have right now.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about how they're handling that situation at all.
Yeah.
I've watched
I
your
think the big part of why we are staying here, even while being unhappy about those issues being present for like what 8 months now, the issue which you just named,
Something like that. It's
is due to
since
the fails of
hobbies.
other games. Like part of why we have it is just other games not pushing each other that much.
so Tolerance is running thin for this game. Like you're getting more and more starting to move away from it. So much to the point that you're looking for other games. And so far, the only games I've been satisfying that are Hot Pursuit and I don't know, Forza, I guess. Grand
Yeah,
Theft
I
Auto
still
thing.
boot up
You
Forza.
don't have that. You don't have that many options. That's the problem. That's part of the reason why TC2 is so popular right now.
And yet they're still
I
handling
think
it.
a lot of the problems we have are more problems for people who play this game a lot, like we do. I think they're maybe not as big of an issue to people who don't really play that often.
Or casuals.
Yeah, not to take the C word into my own mouth, but sure.
Yeah,
I'll say it.
but the thing with those people, if they actually had more competition on the side, if TC2 was actually stressed, by some sort of competition, you wouldn't even have that many new players coming in. Both the dedicated and the new player numbers would drop if we had another option, in my opinion.
So let's say another game. Another company puts out a game. That's basically TC2. We'll just call it like TC2.5. It has everything that we want from this game. The handling model is just a slightly different. I think that would succeed over this. That the TC2 would just plummet and the other game would just start taking off.
Yes, people actually want that type of the game a lot. That's why a lot of the people right now are excited for that TGU, even though it's so vague and they didn't really show anything to us. But people were, over the moon just from the fact of it existing. People want that type of the game.
The concept of just like a car collector game where you cruise, where you just collect vehicles, do all sorts of different shit on like a giant open map. That's just so popular right now in this genre, in the genre of racing games.
Okay.
There's definitely some nostalgia for games like Test Drive and stuff like that in there, but I also feel like it's just a genre with a lot of option to be a really good game, like a very high ceiling could have. Like a closed track racing circuit game, you know what you're gonna get, right? There's not really much to innovate. To have an actually interesting, like a super unique map and lots of expensive vehicles you could drive. I think that's something a lot of people who enjoy cars, who enjoy racing games, really really want.
That niche I feel is already filled a lot by, I want to say GTA, but GTA has its own problems.
GTA doesn't have real cars though, and I think a lot of the people who are interested in this type of game want to cruise with
A real actual
world
licensed
cars,
car. Yeah.
Yeah, the funny part, if GTA had actual licensed cars, a lot of the people would, use it more. Like the GTA would be probably even more popular, but we know it's just not possible. With keeping the same GTA, it wouldn't be the same GTA.
True.
Alright, so some more BS that we've encountered tolerance wise. Air nitrous.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, right from the start, Air Nitrous, I think, was another rushed idea. Somebody had an idea like, yo, wouldn't it be cool if we could fly more, like use the ramps we have in the game more? And the concept of that is fine, because especially with when they added serial jumpers, it was so obvious. Everybody was just avoiding the ramps because they were not optimal to take. trying to find a way to make those ramps not as unoptimal, and bring some fun, some spice to the races with the ramps. I think the idea was fine. The implementation was absolutely horrible.
They underestimated the impact big time. They definitely didn't expect what would come to them. Like, even after some feedback, it took a lot of time on their part to realize what is actually happening with their game. Like, they released it, and then stuff started happening, and they were like, maybe we should adjust it. They started it, from some adjustments. Then, the final one happened only a few months after, because they just were not sure.
There's stuff already happened day one that they released it. My video. Straight from their preview.
Problem is,
the jumps one thing, that dunes one,
it
right?
just takes them a lot of time to realize how big of an issue it actually was.
I guess that also brings up a problem I have with the TTS. Because I'm in a lot of test servers, and they ask like, "Yo, what do you think about this?" But I feel like a lot of criticism just gets ignored. Like to a degree, that's the same thing that happens in a live build. It just takes them really long to actually think like, "Oh, wait, this is actually a problem."
I think part of it is that they don't realize how much it spreads from the top to the bottom. Eventually, even the most newbish people start realizing things, start seeing how we are playing. And yeah, obviously, with stuff like Focus, for example, which was broke at the same time as Air Nitros, it spread like fire.
Right,
Avatar has no understanding of that process, I guess.
I see some people in the
They
chat.
feel like the top players can say whatever, but it wouldn't spread. But no, it does spread.
I feel there's some people in the chat. Was it the people in the test servers? The players they're picking to be in the. I don't want to sound entitled, but I feel like I should have been. I should have been in. There's many times I've seen people like just randos, people I've never heard of, people that have like less than 100 hours in the game, just being in there. I'm like, huh?
Their selection process for the test servers is definitely weird. I think there should be people of multiple, interests in the test servers.
Yes.
That would include, I guess, to a degree, what I would consider casual people. But yeah, there's just people who just don't even speak English in there. There's people who just never comment a single thing in there. There's people who just, I don't know, just blindly agree with stuff. There's people who just don't even know what a coherent sentence is. They should definitely consider, like, is the word like vetting a bit more, like actually thinking through what type of people they want in there.
I feel like
I guess that's a very dangerous situation. I feel like it's a very dangerous situation to only get people in there that they want in there, because then they could just select people that will just like whatever they do. But that's the risk for themselves, because then you will have the problems in the live build and you will just receive the outcries then.
What I have a problem with is how they're picking people. I feel like it's just random at this point. The people that are just putting in just randomly generated, like, oh, just take all these people from the player base.
I feel like it's not random. I feel there's definitely some sort of algorithm, but it's the wrong algorithm.
And like, if they're to do vetting, like, how deep is the community managers into the community? Like, do they actually know what's going on? No. Like, can they vouch for anyone?
I doubt.
Like, they could see based on player stats. If you see like, oh hey, this guy plays the game a certain amount of hours in a month, then clearly he's interested in playing more of this game, so he has an interest in helping us improve our game. And then I guess you also have to, kind of gamble on if they speak English or not.
I think they can leave that random stuff in if they just want more testers. It's whatever. They just need to have a group which would be invited in it, of people who would be valuable in terms of opinion. Especially on the technical stuff like the air nitros and stuff.
I still feel though, I'm gonna sound entitled, but still feel like I should have been in that TTS.
Yeah,
No, I
exactly.
agree.
They
I-
should
I-
ensure you being there.
I figured out.
What do you
I
mean?
figured out wide bodies. I figured out fucking vanity. I figured out. I did the testing sheet. John did his first, but I put mine in an actual like nice floor mat. One that
Yeah,
has
I
a
feel
shitload
like
of stats, everything.
very versatile and knowledgeable players like that should be insured in it, especially when they just put a game into the place of basically needing you, like all that wacky stuff which is happening, including the balance of trying to balance a non-wide body car with the wide body car. They would really benefit from just more opinions, more tests on it.
Hmm.
But-
So yeah, I don't feel like you're being entitled there. You actually have done enough to guarantee a place there if that was a thing.
But at this point, my tolerance for the game is just at an all-time low now. Like, I recently got a job. Don't feel like playing the game anymore because there's nothing to come back to. Not much to play.
I guess it
Yeah.
circles back to what we started with, and that's just content we were getting with these updates is not enough.
Yeah.
We're just being ignored in our opinions, and then they're just adding stuff that's not interesting, and that just creates an evolution of the game, or I guess a backwards evolution of this game. That's just makes it not interesting for us anymore. I agree.
I also put into effect that we're not being listened to. The developer feedback, like we're not getting anything from them. The most we got was
Yeah,
like
the communication is a big issue.
the most we got was like directly from the devs. The most we got was the recent videos. That's what comes to mind. Bro, the game's all about competition. Like, is that what they really see? Is that what they're seeing in their game? Is competition? Like, I don't see it. Like, I feel like they're out of touch with everyone in the community.
I mean, competition. It's still competition. It's just competition implemented wrongly for people who actually want to compete. It's a competition for people who are not very good at the game.
Yeah,
That's
not
what
just
the summit
wrongly,
is, and that's what they've
it is
added.
done
So
poorly. It's just straight up done poorly. To be serious about it. Just
Right.
unfortunate overall, I guess, in terms of communication, understanding the game, getting enough feedback, filtering it, all that kind of stuff. Plays between each other and makes the situation worse and worse. Just, the sum of factors. Just like with the PvP, like, we said it, it's a collection of small little things playing together into the worst experience that it could have been. Same goes for the game overall, the communication around it and stuff. It's just not a good composition together. That's why they should address all those small little things that would increase quality of life, not just in the game, but around it as well. That's why them not paying attention in that sphere is really upsetting. It has a lot of potential, again, in improving life for the game.
Yeah.
And making it a long-term experience, making it an easier experience to join into as well.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned already, the game doesn't have enough accessibility. Yeah,
Alright.
guess we are sitting and witnessing some wasted potential of the game, which is doing all right, but partially due to the fails of other games as well.
I feel like the only reason why it's doing alright. Maybe we'll set this in the chat. Casual invasion.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of
but the
but-
problem is you have a massive leak of those players. Like, they are coming in and they are leaving really quickly, basically.
So you're saying
Definitely
player.
more could have stuck around if the game was better.
So like there's like a bunch of people coming in, but it's a really high turnover. What you're
Yep.
saying?
That's why I'm mentioning stuff like accessibility and quality of life in general around the game.
Yeah, more people actually playing. Keep going instead of being annoyed about all the little things that the game just doesn't have.
Yeah. And that would just make a potential scenario with another game like that coming in, way easier for TC2 because the TC2 would be a way more confident kind of community if all those small little issues would be at least partially addressed, like from one issue to another, just going one by one in the list. Not, it's definitely not happening that they are fixing everything at the same time. That's an unrealistic expectation, but just working on it, just the fact of working on it, just a continuous job on that front would be very beneficial to the game, in my opinion.
I see that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on from this. Yeah. So over the past, I don't know, 6 months, when I was looking for a job and some other things, I was looking at the Avatar main website. There's job postings there, so I looked at those, and those tell an interesting story. They're looking for fuck, I need to pull up again. But they're looking for C3 was which I was applying for. I applied for it 3 times just for as a half serious meme. And but there's some other job postings on there were kind of funny too. Like they're looking for a creative lead, a bunch of other things too. Do you think that paints a picture that they're kind of understaffed?
No,
I definitely
that's how
no.
the industry works.
It could be an indication though. I feel like the way the industry works is definitely promoting a lot of people, and then you have people not in positions that they're actually comfortable with, and then they need new people.
Yeah.
I think there is some sort of a wider issue, with the jobs and stuff. Just besides the game, that's completely putting the game aside. There are many, many more issues, which you can, go from ivory tower up to the highest spots. Like that's a little bit too big for us, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a bit useless for us to speculate on this because I don't know. I personally feel like I just don't have enough knowledge in this type of area to really say anything valuable about it.
Yeah,
And
that's basically where our job is done.
yeah, I feel that, but I just want to mention like that to me in my eyes that's just paints a picture that they're a little bit understaffed. I mean, currently with the COVID-19
Oh
and all
wow,
that
I
shit,
think it's
I
even
think
more than it used to be.
Yeah, I think from what I've heard, like not just on Ivory Tower, it's actually okay changing people over a few years. Like the game itself exists for 2 and a bit years, right? Then it had a development cycle before that, probably more than a year as well. Like it has been a while for TC2, so changing people shouldn't be that much of a surprise at that point, basically.
I was just really confused for a second about the Houdini artist, and then I remembered Houdini is a program. I think. Like, what does it even mean? But I think it's like a drawing program. So okay, just this anecdote. Okay.
And right now we are having a generational switch in gaming overall. So in that context as well, it shouldn't be that much of a problem that they are hiring new people. In fact, they should hire more and more people right here, like at the moment, because
Yeah.
otherwise they would just fall behind.
Yeah.
And
So
Damn, there's
in
a
that
lot
sense,
of
the
open
situation is not that
spots.
big.
yeah, 20 items just for Illinois, France. So yeah, wait, is that where the company is based? Yeah, no,
I think so. Yeah.
pretty sure I'm looking at the right one.
Yeah, because one of the first pages had CoNTENT TC2. Like
Dos.
sixth one from the bottom.
Yeah, basically, I wouldn't worry that much about it.
Yeah,
That's
this is something we just can't control, but talking about is I just wanted to bring it to light. Just a little bit out there.
Yeah, I guess we can speculate. They're understaffed. Maybe that's as far as we can go. I think.
That's probably the case with a lot of companies. As I said, on a generational switch,
I think there's
in
plenty
my
of people
opinion,
looking for
typical.
jobs though, especially because a lot of people got fired. Well,
Hmm.
All right. What else is there to talk about? I think we're running pretty close to the end, unless there's anything you want to bring to the table. Not bring to the table,
I
but
feel like I brought up all my main points with this game. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
there's
think we talked
anything.
about a lot of stuff already.
All right then. See. I think this might conclude it. We're getting close to that 2-hour mark. And I'm not sure I'll end this actually.
Goodbye.
Goodbye now. Is there anything you want to say before we leave?
Go watch my video.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shout outs.
that
Shout
was
outs.
actually pretty funny. Yeah.
Shout outs. GeForce's new overview video.
I guess you can actually how do you say it? Illustrate one of the points about the cars, the
Oh.
nerfing kind of part.
You happen to have a
Just showing
video?
that correct comparison.
You have a video in mind?
Each one to express the update with one word. That's actually a solid ending, I think.
Do you have a video, Deco? Or you're just
Yes,
talking out
yes, the
your
latest one. The latest one in its timestamp. You could just go directly to the C8 side-by-side runs.
2,
Oh my god.
1.
There are a few corners in particular, like even on the first half, you know,
3,
of the track,
2,
you would just see how much the usual curve goes away.
Why are you not sub to Deco, Feather? Can you explain this to me?
Don't worry about it.
I'm worried
Toxic
about it.
relationship. Like you see at the beginning, the
The
acceleration.
regular one's already ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it could corner harder on the first part. Really much easier. Basically.
Do you have one of those vanities that like changes the sound of the nitrous?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the chase mode, which does the sound on its own on both cars.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you could just see on the cornering it went away. It wasn't acceleration, it just went away on the corners.
So yeah, to elaborate on this for people who aren't aware, this is definitely overcompensation in terms of nerfing the paid vehicle version of the vehicle. What I meant to say.
Yeah,
It just goes away on the tight stuff.
if for whatever reason you don't believe, like, oh, this testing doesn't seem valid or whatnot, I implore you to try to hit these times Deco is hitting. Like, just spend the day trying to hit these times and this in the same car. Figure your own tune and just try to go for it. If you feel
Without
like it's
Nitro
testing,
Chemist, by the way.
yeah, without Nitro Chemist. If you're hitting these with Nitro Chemist, yeah,
If you're
If you
hitting them
think-
with Nitro Chemist, you're already a pretty decent driver.
like even I have trouble hitting these times on this track. This isn't my favorite track, and I have trouble
Like I
hitting
barely
it.
hit Deco's time with Nitro Chemist.
But Deco is actually
It's absolutely
insane, so you
insane.
shouldn't. You can trust his testing methodology here.
On some vehicles, Aqua gets slower times with Nitro Chemist. Is that right?
yeah.
Is that a
Some
true claim? I think that might actually be fake news. Never mind.
no, it's
But there's
true.
definitely very close in some vehicles.
I think it's part of it is why part of why it is happening between me and Akor is some vehicles don't gain that much from Nitro Chemist,
Oh yeah.
you know.
No, but
So
still,
that's
I
why
think
on some
like
cars it's easier
the
to
quality
catch.
of your driving in these tests is higher than Aqua's. I feel you're taking these cars to the absolute limits. While Aqua's maybe showing a more realistic view, but not the absolute limits of the vehicles.
Basically, he's not like using the full potential.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah.
That
I
was
was show
to get
C8.
my own driving up on the new handling, and once I was at the standard which I was placed with, I started, I started out on making basically, how would you say it, an example run for it, like a target for me, and I spread it by like types of cars, different gears and stuff. Like that part of me is memorizing stuff in the groups. Like I have groups of cars in mind and how a certain group of cars should be running that track. And yeah, basically I'm running those groups until the car actually makes sense and goes up to the standard, which it should, in my opinion. So yeah, most of the time I'm really pushing it because yeah, I accounted for, I don't know, most of the styles of the cars. Maybe somewhere down below there are like obscure styles which include like 1 or 2 cars which wouldn't even go up a spot, and those types I don't know, but all the blue, green, yellow and even orange stuff, most of those cars I have the type of a car memorized. I have the gear patterns, I have the nitro patterns, I have all that in mind. That's why it's really easy. As soon as I figure out a tune on which the car is stable and turns enough, yeah, I can push it really easily. It's not that hard for me, basically.
Yeah, that's just the validation of Deco's testing process, I guess. Point being that they just
Because he just
they
slaps.
struggle to balance themselves, and they're shooting themselves in the foot by making these cars wider than Stock No Crusader Deco uses control.
Yeah, and because of that, we really have to go in depth on the testing. We should validate stuff because they obviously are changing. From just making 2 corners with the cars, it's really visible how different they are. That's why we have to test.
Yeah, but it looks like the C8 is actually pretty much on par with one another. Like you said, there's only like a few changes. Or yes, M8, my bad.
Yeah, they
The
are
M8
really close.
looks properly balanced. Then,
Yeah.
but the C8 they kind of dropped the ball there.
But I think Deca mentioned that they're pretty much on par, but like they just handle it just slightly differently.
Yeah, the Corvette, the Interceptor, just doesn't have enough turn-in. The M8 has a bit of an issue with steering range. Basically, one of them is not so good on hitting the sweet spot on the turn-in. The other one drifts wider, like mid-turn, because of the body roll, because it doesn't have the wide body. Yeah, that's why those cars are pretty close. They have, both of them have different issues, which bring them together.
I mean, that's how balancing should be done, right? Like different handling quirks, but ultimately the same pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, we discussed that they already shouldn't have to do it.
Yeah, that should be balancing with
problem.
different vehicles, not the same vehicle. Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
we
that's
went
a
over
better
this.
way of balancing it, basically, for different vehicles, instead of using like power, slow shifting, body roll. Like, the balancing overall in the discipline, that was a really weird experience.
I'll watch GeForce's video too.
Oh my god, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick.
Every tour I've added this pass thing, and it's just not it. You have to pay 80,000 CC to get access to earning some vehicles. Visually, they're nothing spectacular. Special versions of the Shelby, C8, and M8 with slightly wider body kits and a light bar. In terms of performance, they aren't anything spectacular, so no need to bother for that reason. The rest of the pass rewards aren't really all that either. There's some acceptable vanity in there, but most of it's just no, not interesting. Even so, regardless of how stupid I think it is to lock vehicles behind a premium pass, because they do handle differently from their regular counterparts, the rest of the update is not really much interesting either. There's some events where you have to chase some demo derby cars and kill them. That's it. Nothing interesting, no cool mechanics, it's just hitting demo derby cars. It's boring after the second or third time you do it, and as you can see, I don't have footage of it because I just don't care enough. It's pretty much random how well you do. It depends on how the AI spawns in front of you when you take one down. 0 replay value. You get a whopping 5 of these events available with this update for Street 1 Hypercar. with a further 3 that will be drip fed over the next 2 months. With that, we move on to the summit, which will feature several of these chase events. Yes, these events based on random AI placement will feature the summit because the summit is, of course, the epitome of competition. These are the upcoming summits, and the rewards are boom, 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 shit. So yeah, the cards are the M8 and the C8, reskins of both, reskins of the Shelby, the Dodge Demon, a reskin of the Chiron, Veneno, and
No.
as summit reward you get a reskin of the Ford GT, and another reskin of the Mazda RX-8. No, and there's the Charger Demo Derby car, I guess. That's all the content you get. Oh, there will be an Elite bundle with this update, of course, but you have to wait 3 weeks for it because, yeah. To recap, they locked cars behind a paywall, the events are boring, and vehicles we get are reskins. That's about it.
God, I love GeForce's narration. He's so excited, so fucking, he's so fucking amped. You know, this update just gets them, just gets them going. You know, get the blood pumping.
Thanks.
All right, I think this is about it. I think that's a good place to stop. This thanks for watching. This podcast has been brought to you by
Us?
us. Yeah, there's no sponsor. I'm waiting for a sponsor email. I need money. Anyways, I think I'll post this later on YouTube, so look out for that. I'll post all the links for everyone else's socials and stuff like that. Yeah, make sure to follow, like, subscribe. Follow on Twitch. Follow Miku. Follow Deco. GeForce. All of them are pretty good.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Yeah, subscribe to his OnlyFans. Best OnlyFans there is. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.